Hey guys, what's going on? It's Mark with Spiguyver Backpacking. Thank you for joining me today. I'm out here just kind of in my backyard, and I've got my new War Bonnet Blackbird XLC set up. And I was gonna lounge for a little bit, but it's kind of chilly out here. It is currently about 22 degrees, so it's a little bit nippy out here. And fortunately the wind's not whipping all that bad today. It's actually kind of calm, so 22 doesn't feel as bad as the 18 felt the other day with the wind whipping, and it felt like about 7 degrees. So this isn't actually all that bad, but it is a little bit chilly once you start laying in here. I don't know if you've ever noticed it, but once you lay in a hammock, what insulation you do have below you compresses, and that wind, even just that slight little breeze, just takes all the heat away from you from underneath. And so it's really good to have a good set of quilts anytime you're out hanging, even if it's just in the backyard like this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put on a new set of quilts that I've got that I'm testing out and let you guys check these things out. So let's do that. So what I've got here set up is a set of Sierra Madre Research Inferno quilts. Now the Inferno comes in two different temperature ratings, the 30 degree and a 0 degree. What I have here is the 30 degree, and I've actually used it into the 20s without much problem at all. I did have one night where I ended up cutting the night a little bit short. 5 a.m. I started getting a little bit chilly, checked the temperature, and it was down to 19 degrees. So it got below the 20s. You know, a lot of times people take a temperature rating and they go 10 degrees above that, and that's kind of their limit. So a 30 degree set, normally about 40 degrees is most people's limit on those quilts. And I've had these down into the 20s, easily down to 30 degrees, no problems whatsoever, toasty warm. And I think it's because of a couple of things that they've got going on here. So let's take a little bit closer look at this setup and talk about some of the features. So let's take a look at how this thing actually attaches. So it is a full-length quilt, so it comes all the way up. Even this end little triangle here has a little bit of insulation in it. Now, not nearly as much as there or once you get down into the baffles, but then at the end, it simply has one elastic strap that comes up and hooks onto your continuous loop. And from there, if you need to make any adjustments, it's simply adjusting that. But because it's elastic, it does move with you in the hammock and creates a really nice system. So it's two little hooks, one here and one on the head end. Now this does also have elastic that runs down the length of it that you can adjust right here with this barrel lock. Very easy adjustment there, just to get it cinched up so that it's nice and tight without any air gaps. Additionally, you have a toggle on the inside. Now that toggle works really well with the Sierra Madre Solo that I've got. There's actually little D-rings, and this loops right in there, and it keeps it so that it doesn't shift left or right while you're laying in the hammock, which is really nice. Now, another cool feature on the bottom of this hammock are these blue strips. There's one on either side, and they're referred to as heat strips. And what they are is an additional baffle that goes between the normal baffles. If you look on the inside, you don't see this baffle, but it is a baffle that runs underneath the torso part of your body that adds just a little bit more insulation under your body to keep you warm, and it's very effective. Now, the next part of the system that makes this a really unique quilt system is the top quilt. So just like the Underquilt, it's made of the same material, very generously stuffed, and has a great feel to it. Here is the difference though. This hood. So it's got an integrated hood. On the back side, it is open except for right behind your neck and your head. So you put it on just like a hood. Then it goes over your shoulders and you become enveloped in it. It has a drawstring right here that you can use to tighten it up around your face. And it works really well. Okay, so I am laying here in my hammock and I've got the quilt just kind of laying on me. But if it was really cold and I wanted to really stay warm, I could lose the hat and put this hood right here up over my head. It goes around my shoulders and it becomes a really nice warm system just to really trap in that body heat and keep me warm all night long. Very, very high quality system, and it's got a drawstring around the face to tighten it up if I need it to, or loosen it, and it just works really, really well. Great system. Very warm, very, very warm. So I'm laying here right now. I've got the Underquilt under me. I haven't made any adjustments to it since I was using it on the solo hammock, which it pairs to really well because of the two D-rings and the toggles that are on the Underquilt. I think this is a longer hammock, but I didn't make any adjustments to the length. Because of that elastic, it stretches really well. And I just feel, immediately getting into it, the warmth is just incredible. And even though it is cooler out here today than this is really rated for, I have no doubt that I would be super, super comfy using what I've got right now in this. So here you can see I have my head, up in the hood. Now I could tighten this down so that it's covering up, so that only my eyes are really, really visible there. And then it tucks under my shoulders and really creates a system where there are no air gaps. I'm not slipping out of it, and it's really covering me very, very well, as you can see here. And then with the Underquilt being underneath, just creates a perfect system. Here's a look at the Sierra Madre Inferno system. If we move over here to the Underquilt, you can see these two blue strips, and these are additional baffles that are added that are called the heat strip, and they just add a little bit of more room and warmth right to the middle of the quilt. This is the 30-degree set, and on both ends you have a little bit of draft collar, and then you have a really good suspension system, and that's on either end. Here's a closer look at the inside and how the suspension works. So as you pull it up, it just kind of creates that cocoon that goes around. Like I said, both of them are 800 fill power. It's got the elastic. So you connect the two sides, and then you've got the elastic on the sides. So you connect the two ends, and then the elastic on the side kind of draws it up in. On the top quilt, you have the tag on the bottom. Tells you that it's 30 degrees. And then it's got a couple of elastic loops on either side. On the bottom half, the bottom four baffles are horizontal. And then as you move up into the torso area, they are vertical. It's got a nice wide shoulder area, and then it tapers down to the foot box. And then as you can see up top, it has the hood. And this is 800 fill power, and that's the same on both the top quilt and the underquilt. So here's the hood, and it has a nice little drawstring here that allows you to cinch it down around your head, and it has a nice little brim up there that keeps it out of your eyes and really is nice. Flip it over and you can see it's got the tag on there just like any big manufactured sleeping bag, and then the back is open, so you can see inside is blue, outside is gray, and then the whole head, the back of the head is covered up. Just really nice. I really like this system. I really like the way that it works, and it's kept me very warm. Great system. Okay, so I've gotten the chance to get out and use this quilt set a few times now, and I've got to say I really like it. If I was in the market for another quilt set, this would definitely be up towards the top of my list, if not at the top. The Underquilt, with the suspension that it's using and having the little pockets that go all the way up on the ends to the suspension, it is probably the easiest suspension I've used on an Underquilt set yet, bar none. It's just very intuitive, very easy. You just have one adjustment on each end, very easy to get right. And then with the top quilt, the hood is great. It really does help to trap and keep in the heat, and you're able to move and not open up any drafts there, and you can really cinch down the face part kind of as tight as you need to for whatever the conditions are that night. Very effective, very good piece of equipment there. Sierra Madre really hit the nail on the head with that one. Now, what I'm trying to do with all of my gear reviews from here forward, and you saw that a little bit with the last couple of gear reviews I've done, is I want to make sure that I also give a little bit of constructive criticism and feedback to the manufacturer so that they can keep evolving and keep making the product better. So for me, the things that I would improve with this system both have to do with the top quilt. So when the top quilt was delivered to me by Barry from Sierra Madre, it had a little bit of a tear in it on the back panel. So the back panel is open, but it comes up and it forms kind of like a square. And in one of the corners, it was ripped a little bit. And I don't know if you saw on the video, but there was a little spot where I had some duct tape kind of closing it. And what I did was I made sure I pushed in all of the down that was around that area, taped it up, and made sure that it was sealed nicely. But what that showed me was that it could have been, where that seam is, could have been doubled over and just reinforced a little bit there. And then the other piece is possibly on that and around the face, maybe add some elastic so that it can kind of flex a little bit when you're moving around. Because it is sewn just rigidly, when you're moving around, if you already have tension on that seam, you're putting more tension on it as you're moving around. It could possibly rip it, and that's something that I wouldn't want to have happen if you're spending a lot of money on a really nice piece of gear. So maybe a little bit of elastic there or some shock cord would allow it to stretch and move with you a little bit better. But other than those two little pieces of criticism, I really liked the gear. Now let's talk about the weight of the gear. So the Underquilt is, it came in at 19.3 ounces, which is below the listed weight on the manufacturer site. That's a good thing. And then if you talk about the top quilt, it came in at 17.3 ounces. So again, below the list. I believe the list was 17.8 on that and 20 point something for the Underquilt. So both of them below list weight, which is good. Not something that you see very often. The other piece that I wanted to throw out there was, and I mentioned it a couple times, it's 800 fill power. There are a lot of quilts out there that are 850, 900, 950. So you can get some with lighter for the volume down. So 800 is kind of on the lower end of what people are looking for these days. So maybe that's another piece of criticism for the price, for what you're getting, maybe going something a little higher than 800 would be nice as well. But all in all, very nice gear. So guys, that's kind of my thoughts on the Inferno system. Definitely gear worth looking at if you are shopping for quilts. Something that I would definitely like. The fact that they only do 30 degree and 0 degree kind of limits the customer base, but I think for a 0 degree, it's awesome having that integrated hood. I think that one's going to be a real killer one. But that 30 degree has gotten me down to 20 degrees, in the 20s with no problem, down to 20 degrees. Once it got, I checked at 19 degrees. I was a little bit chilly. But that's pretty impressive for a 30 degree quilt set, especially in that weight range. So they're doing something right. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you haven't done so before, go down below, comment, like this video, and of course, subscribe. Show me that you guys want more of what I'm doing. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys down the trail. Thanks.